All right, welcome back, right? So the Phoenicians create alphabetic writing for us based on phonemes. These are sounds. If you can actually see that some of their letters look very similar to our own. Others are way off, right? But like, a K looks like a K just backwards. An L, pretty much an L and M. And CH sound, I don't know, that doesn't look anything like it. But the Greeks and then the Romans will adopt this phonetic, right, Phoenician phonetic alphabet and pass it on to us. Which is why your keyboard has 26 characters or so, and if you are learning Chinese, if you know Chinese, you're going to have like 8,000 characters to learn, because each character in Chinese or Japanese or Korean is an idea, is a word itself. Okay. That works though. I mean, there are advantages to each system. How about the people who didn't have writing at all? The Indo-Europeans. So the Indo-Europeans were a linguistic family, a language family in southern Russia and in the Ukraine, who had horses and cows and were highly mobile. Again, these were pastoral people. Right? You raise the livestock on the grass, in kind of grassy plains, and when there's not enough grass, maybe because of a little bit of global warming at the time, temporary global warming, you've got to move. Right? And you move with your horses, your cows. They had chariots, so they had wheeled transportation. They had iron technology. They were often at war with one another on these chariots. So Indo-Europeans were essentially a tribal people fighting with one another. But they moved from the Ukraine, from the Caucasus region, into many pockets of Europe and even the so-called Middle East, even at the borders of China. So as their population rose, or as the grass either dried out or could not sustain large numbers, they began to migrate east, west, and I guess I would say south, although I don't have that on the screen. They call themselves the noble ones. We are the Ayer. Well, when their descendants, some of them get to as far west as they could go, they're called the Irish in the land of Ayer. Right? Those who went kind of southeast would call themselves the Aryans. Right? They end up in India. Those who go more directly south call themselves the Iranians. All these people would be related. Okay. So here's kind of the Indo-European homeland. And people, they actually do move north. You can't move too far north, right? But they move into Scandinavia. They move throughout all of Europe. They move into Anatolia. They become the founders, actually, of the Hittite Empire there. They move through Persia into northwest India, even to the borders of China. There have been archaeological digs on the western borders of China where they've unearthed kind of permafrost, like light-skinned people from a couple thousand years ago wearing plaid. Like what? And blonde hair. Okay, they were people who came from afar. Okay, that's as far as they got. So what does this mean? This happens over the course of a couple thousand years. There's your first group. All right, from about 5,000 years ago to about 3,000 years ago. These are sporadic, wandering migrations. It's not an invasion of some type of racially superior Aryan people with light skin. It's a lot of Nazi fascist bullshit that tries to portray that, right? The Nazis, the original Nazis, right, had a lot of pseudo-history and pseudo-science. And somehow these people, light skin, were superior and they conquered others. No. It was kind of like, my horse is hungry and I'm going to greener pastures and my horse eats and I end up marrying a woman who lives there. Okay? And our children will be of mixed parentage. They'll have some of my genes and some of hers, and some of my language and some of hers. Okay? Some of my culture and some of hers. There you go. Okay? It's any type of racial superior invasion. Okay? Nonsense. We know this now, not only from the linguistic record, but also from the from the genetic one, right? So you can do a 23andMe analysis and where was some of my DNA? Where was it? 5,000 years ago. What was it doing in Russia? Am I Russian? No, I don't. Maybe you are, but you might be distantly related to some people in Russia, right? But people wander, they mix and mingle. This is history, folks. Right? The Hittites end up in Anatolia with their iron and their war chariots. Some Indo-Europeans end up in Western Asia, Northwest Persia, Northwest India. Very small print on my screen. Let me look at it. Northwest India, the Punjab, okay, Punjab, and Persia as well. So languages in these areas will often have some connection. This is how anthropologists began to figure this stuff out before they could do DNA analysis. Like, why is the word for fire, why does it start with an F sound in all of these lands? There's fuego and fire and food. And something in India, Sanskrit that I don't know, but I bet it starts with an F, okay? I didn't know the word saute in India, maybe that's really, the saute in French. Anyway, grammatical structure, syntax, nouns, there's some resemblance. And experts in this, linguistics, right, the subfield of anthropology, begin to piece this together. Okay? Why is the word for brother similar? Why is the word for ruler? Over in England we got ruler. In France we got roi. In India we got raja. Right? Why are these similar? Well, because the roots of those words came from the same place. But not every word's going to be the same. The word for, I don't know, fish is not going to be the same. It's going to be more of a native word, okay? Because there's no fish in southern Russia, okay? They're going to have to use whatever word for fish. When you wander into those regions, whatever word for fish is already there is going to be your word. Fish, poisson, pescado. They don't sound the same at all. I know I'm only using the European ones. It shows my own bias. Right? So this is a movement of people. It's almost like a tree. Okay, we can go back to that other map for a second. The roots are here and the branches are like all over the place. But they're intertwined with the people who were already living there. Okay? It's not an invasion of the lighter-skinned, supposedly inferior people. It's someone with a hungry horse or cow wandering into new grassland and settling down and getting married with someone who was already there. Okay? If anything, the Indo-Europeans fought each other. They did not have writing. So I'm not so sure how we can make the case for any type of superiority. They fought with each other. We do have records of that, with archaeological records, but also on oral tradition. So in their songs of their gods, oh, great Indra, wielder of lightning. Wielder of lightning? So God throws lightning bolts at people? Wow. Where that happened, we see that in early India, not among the people who lived there before the Indo-Europeans, but these so-called Aryans moved in. We see that maybe more familiar to you in Greece, Zeus, or Jupiter, or who is it in Sweden, right? Odin, right? We see kind of these, it's not a language with some of these religious ideas. Yeah, because all of their great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents kind of believed something similar and spoke a similar language, Proto-Indo-European. So it's interesting as people mix and mingle and carry their culture and technologies, like they brought iron technology to new places. They were probably among the first people to milk cows, although I just read something that's a bit in dispute when human beings could actually begin to tolerate cow's milk. And not all people can. Right? It depends upon your own kind of family history, going way back. Okay. So they go all the way as far as they can get in Western Europe. We call them the Celts. The Celts were part of the Indo-European. So what's next? What's next? This was just a short segment. I couldn't squeeze all this into that first one. Darn it, already a few minutes over. But what will be next will be 2 modules on early African societies and the Bantu migration. So Egypt and also the people of basically the Sudan, and the Bantu migration. So a different language family that moved through, from west to east in South Africa. They did not go north because the Sahara Desert was growing, but they'll carry and they actually had iron technology as well. Their language, their technology, their culture, as they mix and mingle with people who were already in these regions and had children with them. With the Bantu migration. So if we say that most languages in Europe today are of Indo-European origin, there are some exceptions. Basque, Danish, I think Hungarian. Someone can fact check that and put it in the comment section. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not vouching for that necessarily. But most languages of Africa, at least before the 19th century, Sub-Saharan Africa, are of Bantu origin. So that's where we're headed next. Egypt and the Bantu migration to Africa, and then it'll be about a chapter a week until our exam on from the 14th through the 21st. We still have India to cover, early India and early China. All right, so make sure you read, do the lecture, maybe review the chapter again. I don't really expect anyone to do this, but you could watch these videos again, or maybe even just listen to them. All right. So, as always, email me or call me if you have any questions. Okay. You will see me later. All right? Have a great Labor Day.